Hello, AP language students. I hope that you're doing well and I hope that your families are doing well. It is Monday, March 30th, 2020, and thanks for coming to my class. So let's first, here's the plan for this video. The first few minutes of this video, I'm going to just talk about what you should have done so far for my class, making sure that we're all on the same page, so to speak. And then later on in the video, I'm going to get into a formal lesson. But let me just start by saying, as far as what you should have done for my class, have you been watching these videos? That's number one, right? This right now is my primary mode of instruction. It will probably not stay this way permanently, but right now I figure this is the best way for me to, get a lesson out to you. Eventually we're going to be moving to some synchronous stuff. That is especially going to be important once April 3rd rolls around and we know for sure what the structure and the content of the AP exam is going to look like. As of now, I'm even planning on actually having prep sessions that are going to be synchronous, that will be live. So, if I have an idea of what task you're going to be doing at home for the AP exam, then we could all get together in a Google Meet session and I could actually give you a practice test, and we could do that more than once. So ideally, that's coming up eventually. But again, we're still waiting to hear from the College Board with regards to the AP exam and more info about what's going to be on it. All right, so what should you have done for my class so far? Well, first and foremost, I have to say it again. Have you watched these videos? That's imperative. So have you watched these videos? And when you watch them, I also highly recommend that you have your notebook out and that you're taking notes. For example, today's lesson, we're going to be going over one of the sample essays that you should have already evaluated. But when I'm dissecting that sample essay, I think it's going to be really valuable if you're taking notes on some of the things that I am talking about or any observations that I make, because you want to keep these things in mind. I'm going to be going over a lot of the do's and don'ts, or what's good, what's not so good. So yeah, absolutely, take notes, take notes. Wait, I just came up with an idea. I might actually require you to submit your notes on a video. I'll have to look into that. I like that idea. All right, so take notes. All right, so far you should have watched the videos. You should have submitted some assignments. What assignments should you have submitted by now? You should have submitted the Benjamin Banneker Rhetorical Analysis essay that I walked you through, right? I really took the time to kind of walk you through that. So that should be good to go, and also that's submitted through Google Classroom. You should have also by today submitted the Benjamin Banneker Sample Essays Evaluation Assignment. So if you go to my Google Classroom, as you should know because you've watched previous videos, I have posted links. One link is to the evaluation worksheet and another link is to the sample essays. You should have read all 3 sample essays. You should have done evaluation worksheets for the first 2 sample essays. And today what I want to do for this lesson is really take the time to read that first sample essay with you. We will get into the nitty-gritty about what makes that essay an 8. And we'll talk about what it could have done better. We will also talk about what it does really well, all right? So again, a recap here. You should have watched my videos. You should have submitted the Benjamin Banneker essay, and you should have also submitted the evaluation sheets for the sample essays. Now, don't forget, I am using those I'm using work that you submit as attendance. So please make sure that you're submitting your work. And if anything is up, please also understand that you can contact me. The very best way to contact me is by shooting me a text through Remind. So that is, I know that some of you are actually, attaching like a little comment on a submitted assignment. And that's fine, but if it's something that's kind of like that you want me to look at right away, I would recommend that you just send me a text message through Remind. It's a lot easier, it's a lot faster. So that's the primary mode of us interacting. Also, please keep in mind that just checking in and interacting with me is part of how I'm knowing that you are taking part in this educational experience, right? So All right, now that we've kind of talked about where you should be, I also want to talk a little bit about some revisions that will be coming up to the work week schedule. And this is not just for my class, but this is going to be kind of like a school-wide thing. In case you haven't seen it, Dr. Thomas has sent out an email with a schedule. I'm going to be taking a closer look at this with you, all right? But we are going to be following this schedule. Now, how does this impact my office, at my online office hours? I'll get into that in a little bit. So you probably want to take notes on this too. All right, so let's take a look at this. This is the email that Dr. Thomas is sending out to all parents. And I want to make sure that you're as aware of it as possible. So the way it works is there will be days designated for specific classes. As you can see here, as an English class, right, we will be having... All right, what will we be having? Well, on Mondays and Wednesdays, I will be posting content assignments, right? And if we do move to some synchronous learning, which eventually we will, it will either happen, or it'll happen on a Monday and or Wednesday, okay? So you could take a look and refer to this to see which classes have which days. But this is something to make things a little bit more manageable. Teachers and administration understand that you are being swamped with work and it's hard to manage, especially if it's all coming at you at different times and teachers are expecting you to be at certain places and it's not coordinated with other teachers, right? So hopefully this is going to make things a little bit more manageable. So as of now, on Mondays and Wednesdays, I will be posting content that might either be just a simple assignment that I post to my Google Classroom, it might be a YouTube video such as this one, or it might eventually turn into a synchronous session, and I will try my best to coordinate with as many of you as possible to find a time that works best for us. And if there aren't ways that, if for some reason you can't make it, I will also try to find a way to make sure that you are able to review that session somehow. All right, so you can see Tuesdays and Thursdays. These are the classes here that are designated for those days. And then down here, there's this section for Friday. Are you watching this on your phone and is it in portrait mode? Please turn it into landscape mode so you could go full screen on this. You shouldn't be squinting. Okay, so Fridays are considered an extra help day, right? Fridays are considered an extra help day. And so what does that mean? That means on Fridays from, where is English? Here we are. Fridays from 11:15 to 12. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more for you. Is that better? All right, from 11:15 to 12 p.m., I will be available. And I think the way I'm going to do that is I'll be online with a Google Hangouts Meet session. That has actually been working well. I've been posting a join code to my Google Classroom. Cassie, don't do that. Sorry, the cat's trying to knock things off the counter. Hold on. What was I saying? So I will be posting... I'll be posting on my Google Classroom a join code that you can just click and then it'll bring you to the Google Hangouts Meet session. And if you have questions, again, this is not just simply office hours. This is, I'm designating this for extra help. So, if you just want to check in, we're going to talk about other ways that you could do that, but this is specifically for work. All right. So please make sure that if you're going to come to this, it's not just to simply chit chat or to check in. It's really going to be focused primarily on work. And that's for any of my students, both AP Language and presentational speaking. All right. Other things that are important to keep in mind right now as far as the situation that we're in, right? So first of all, let's remind children, this is for parents, to make sure you're going into Google Classroom, but the New York State Governor Cuomo has ordered schools to remain closed until April 15th, 2020, all right? So that's as of now where we are. Schools will be closed until the 15th of April, and we'll see what happens as that rolls around. So does that make sense? I'm pretty sure that that's going to make things a little bit more manageable for everybody, both students and teachers. Now, what about the online office hours that I had established last week on Tuesdays and Thursdays? Well, for the most part, I'm going to kind of be keeping those because I find that they're a wonderful way for us to just check in with each other and also for us to talk about work. schoolwork. So, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to condense them. So starting Thursday, I'm going to be having a 1 hour session. It'll probably be from 11 to noon. And that'll be the time where anyone from either of my courses, AP Language or Presentational Speaking, can pop in to either just say hi, we could chat, but again, primarily I want it to be focused on work. All right, so starting Thursday, this coming Thursday, I will start having sessions, online office hour sessions for 1 hour. And as of now, the time will be, this might change, from 11 to noon, okay? Starting Thursday, and then from moving forward there, I will be doing Tuesdays and Thursdays. Those sessions are not mandatory. As you know from the schedule, you already have teachers who will be giving you things, right? So, that's only if you have the time or if you really need to talk to me about something, that would be a good time for you to just pop in and we could talk. All right, so what about today's lesson? Well, it's pretty straightforward. We are going to look at a sample essay together. I want to provide as much insight to you as possible about what makes a particular sample essay good and ways that it could be improved. And again, the ultimate goal here is for us to be reflecting upon our own writing. What tips and strategies can we adopt as our own for the day of the exam and just for our writing in general, right? It's not all about the exam. The cat, she just wants to knock stuff. I know the world isn't flat because if it were, cats would have knocked everything off of it already. All right, so we're going to take a look at a sample essay. And I'm going to bring you down to the computer angle so that we could go through it together. Again, notebook handy, please. We want to have that notebook handy so that you could be jotting down things that I say that are good and not so good. And you don't know, I might actually end up asking you to send me a photo of your notes to ensure that you have actually watched this video. All right? Great. All right, so let's switch the camera angle down to the computer and let's dive into this sample essay. Wait. I have to say this. First of all, if you have not submitted your evaluation sheets for the sample essays, pause this video and do them. There is no point in you going through the remainder of this video, for the remainder of this lesson, unless you have already done those evaluation sheets. Please, I'm begging you, don't undermine the educational process here. If you do this out of order, right? I'm going about this in a specific order intentionally. So if you do this out of order, you're missing out on what I have planned here. So please don't undermine the educational experience here. Before you watch the rest of this video, before I share my thoughts with you about this particular essay, I want you to have fully thought about it. I want you to have written about it. I want you to have submitted that worksheet, those worksheets, 2 worksheets, through Google Classroom. Okay, now we can get down there. My cat likes to take her toy mice and drown them in her water bowl. She throws them too. This is the document that you should have read already. As you see, it first kind of gives us a breakdown of what a particular score is. Please keep in mind that it's my understanding that from this point on, though, the College Board will be using not a score system out of 9 points, but out of 6 points, kind of like the English regions, all right? So this gives us a breakdown about why an essay gets a particular score. And, the criteria here, an 8 and a 9 is effective, a 9 is highly effective, a 6 is adequate, right? 4 is inadequate, and a 2 is little success. Oh, boy, that sounds bad. Little success. Okay, at least it doesn't say fail, right? All right, so this is the essay I want us to look at together, right? You should have already read it and written about it. So a lot of students will often ask me, wait, this essay has a title. Does it need to have a title? No, absolutely not. This student just gave it this title. Look at how compelling it is. Anti-slavery, all right? Okay, whatever. But let's read this introduction and I'll provide commentary and you should be, jotting some things down. Feel free to pause if you need to, right? Because what I'm doing here is trying to give you as much insight as possible as to why this essay received the score of an 8. If you're on a computer, go full screen to make it easier to read. If you're on your phone, again, please turn it into landscape mode, make it easier to read. So this student starts out with the following sentence. Whether we like to think about it or not, slavery is associated with our country's history. Okay, yeah, totally fine, right? He's giving us kind of that warmer upper sentence to kind of introduce the topic and to ease us into the essay. I like it. It could be a little bit more profound, but again, it totally does the trick. Whether we like to think about it or not, slavery is associated with our country's history. There have been several opinions on its constitutional fairness, but nevertheless, it happened, and eradicating it from this nation was a struggle. All right, we could see some errors here. Nevertheless is provide like 3 words. It should be 1 word, right? And he's not spelling the word eradicated there, but he's trying to use sophisticated language. And if there's a little mistake that happens from that, then that's fine. During this struggle, Benjamin Banneker took a huge step and wrote Thomas Jefferson about his negative feelings on the issue of slavery, in which he implemented several religious appeals, repetition, and an array of emotional diction. All right, he's got his thesis statement there. Again, I'm assuming it's a he. Please, I don't know. It could be a she, right? He's got his thesis statement there, and it's the last sentence of his introduction. That's where it should be. And notice what he's doing here as far as his strategies. He says, implemented several religious appeals. Yeah, that's good. Repetition. Okay, fine. Not the most impressive, but it does play an important role in this. Okay, please ignore all background sounds. Yeah. All right, so he's got rhetorical appeal, several religious appeals, repetition, and an array of emotional diction. I would say that the array of emotional diction is, it's okay, right? He's a little vague there, but he's got his 3 strategies and intro is done. So let's see what happens, all right? First body paragraph, right? So again, as far as these devices go, they're fine, right? Nothing super impressive and a little bit vague, but the body paragraphs will hopefully, and as you know, they do, elaborate. So, Banneker makes several religious appeals that attack Jefferson's pro-slavery stance. Just so you know, when you cross things out like this, it actually takes up more time. Just 1 line. We don't have the time as teachers or as test raters to be trying to figure out what you wrote before and laughing at you. Just 1 line, okay? No need to do this whole scribbling. So Banneker makes several religious appeals that attack Jefferson's pro-slavery stance. He states that while Jefferson is, quote, fully convinced of the benevolence of the Father to all mankind, he, quote, contradicts his mercies by condoning slavery to continue. Okay, I like this. I like it for a number of reasons. First of all, he's got his quotes in there, right? So we want to be filling our body paragraphs. I don't want to use the word filling. We want to be inserting in our body paragraphs evidence. And a lot of the time, that evidence is going to take the form of the quotes. And it's almost as if this student has followed my teachings with regards to the splice, slice, and dice method for inserting quotes into your essays, right? I like that he's attaching himself, he's grabbing this phrase and throwing it into this sentence. And then he's got his own words here, and then he's plopping in another little phrase here. This is an effective way to use quotes, and it's one that I have been teaching you to use for a while now, right? All right, so to mankind, he contradicts his mercies by condoning slavery to continue. This skilled religious appeal serves a dual purpose. Okay, yes. The first of which bonds Banneker and Jefferson under a common God. This serves to show Jefferson that Banneker, this serves to show Jefferson that Banneker some mistakes here, that Banneker has a mutual religious understanding. Okay, I got to stop here for a second. This is good. Okay, I'm going to say it's even insightful. When he says something like this skilled religious appeal serves a dual purpose, and he starts pointing out how they share a common God. Yes, we like this a lot, right? All right, it's insightful. This serves to show Jefferson that Banneker has a mutual religious understanding. But while the aforementioned quote ties the two men together, it also scorns Jefferson. Yes, it's creating a common bond, but also criticizing him, right? Banneker chooses to attack Jefferson under the eyes of God so that he can maintain what does that say? What does that say? Polighted air, while also reprimanding Jefferson. All right, polighted air. Wow, okay. Sorry, adjusting the camera here. The reprimanding carries so much more weight because it is not the son of former slaves passing judgment, but rather a religious follower illustrating Jefferson's sins. Yes. All right, this is an extremely insightful paragraph. Now, what do I like about it? Well, first of all, it's pointing out some deep things. It's really getting into the heart of how this letter functions, where it gets that, the authority and that emotional weight, and how Banneker hopes to impact Jefferson. Not just bring up a point, but really sway the way he thinks and feels. So that does a really good job. Could it be better? Yeah, it could have fewer errors. And I would even say, let's get another quote or two. It doesn't have to be a long quote, right? Like half a line. But yes, that's a solid paragraph. Again, it's insightful. All right, let's see what else goes on. Second paragraph. In accordance with maintaining that polite disposition, that's a wonderful transition, right? So he's talking about the polite disposition over here, and he's building up on it, and he's got this transitional sentence. In accordance with maintaining that polite disposition, we can use a phrase like that as a transition in any of our essays, especially if you're making one point and the next point connects to it. In accordance with maintaining blank, right? In accordance with maintaining blank, right? In accordance with maintaining that polite disposition, Banneker, jot that down, okay? Are you jotting these things down that I've been talking about? Good. Banneker continually refers to Jefferson as sir. Oh, he's focusing in on the sir word. Banneker opens his letter with sir and repeats it 6 times before concluding. Oh, he counted it. Okay, all right. He 6 times before concluding it, saying it at least once in every paragraph. Yes, this serves to show that while Banneker does not condone Jefferson's practices, he still has the utmost respect for him and the position he holds. He does not work to antagonize Jefferson, but rather reason with him and state his opinion. Okay, yes. All right, make this even better. When you say, but rather reason with him, give us an example of that. So this paragraph is focusing on the respectful tone and that word sir, right? But when he says, but rather to reason with him, let's get some textual evidence of that. Continually repeating sir shows Jefferson that he is a dignified person, which destroys the possible notion that race makes people inferior. This is pretty sophisticated, I gotta say. Right? It's good. It also serves as a concession, right? Is that what that says? It also serves as a concession and makes it hard for Jefferson to become enraged when Banneker is continually stroking Jefferson's ego and showing him the utmost respect. Yes. Okay? So again, a solid paragraph. It does have the evidence in the form of the word sir, but it could use just a little bit more textual evidence. In particular, I want a quote in there, and I kind of gave us an example of where he could have had that quote, right? Third body paragraph. How many body paragraphs are there? Oh, okay, 2 body paragraphs. All right, but this is a big conclusion. So this might be a body paragraph / conclusion, or it might be a body paragraph without a conclusion. We will check that out as we continue to read. Banneker also utilizes emotional diction in his argument against slavery. Okay, that's his opening sentence for that device. Notice when he, in his thesis statement, goes through his devices, he lists them in the order that he has them in the essay. So Banneker also utilizes emotional diction in his argument against slavery. He refers to slavery as groaning captivity and cruel oppression, as well as speaking of its, quote, injustice. All of these words were specifically chosen to represent the plight of the slave, as well as depicting the horrendous life they must endure daily. Yes. Okay, good. So focusing on, notice what he's doing here. He's focusing on individual words and phrases. And that's something that any of us can do, right? If we're reading a passage and we encounter a word or a phrase that is vital to the overall meaning of the passage, then we can kind of grapple onto it, explore its meanings, explore its implications, explore its significance to the overall piece that we're analyzing. I kind of did that the other day when I, extended that metaphor of weaning, right, to imbibe. Okay, so all of these words were especially chosen to represent the plight of the slave, as well as depicting the horrendous life they must endure daily. The harsh words are more personal when he states that they affect, quote, his brethren. Now the slaves in question are not just figures in the distance, but are people with feelings and connections to other people. Yes, they are human beings, which, sadly, is something Jefferson may not have realized. Yeah. Banneker vividly depicts what Jefferson's actions are doing to real-life people, which is intended to instill some much-needed guilt, as well as calling for a radical and instrumental change. Hashtag. I don't know what the deal is with the hashtag. All right. So yes, this I would say is this is a combination of a third body paragraph with a concluding sentence, and that's totally fine, right? Ideally, you will have, 5 paragraphs. You will have a intro, 3 body paragraphs, and a conclusion. But this kid combined right? It looks like this. Hold on, let me zoom out. It looks like this. Okay, he's got an intro, body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2, and concluding body paragraph, or a body paragraph with a concluding sentence attached to it. And that's fine. The College Board understands that you are pressed for time. And as a result of that, they don't go crazy if things aren't, what you would expect if you were writing an essay that you had a week to turn in. They know that you're rushed. So if you're pressed for time and you just write a 1-sentence conclusion after your 3 body paragraphs, no big deal. Or if you attach a concluding sentence to the last body paragraph, no big deal. All right, so now that we've read this essay and we've talked about what makes it good and ways it could be even a little bit better, right? Okay, let's just take a look at the overall length, right? It is 1 full page, another full page, and it goes to the last. Ideally, I want this page to be about halfway full, all right? In a way that kind of indicates that it's in-depth enough. Now let's drop down to the commentary for this essay, okay? So first of all, let's take a look at their overview, and we will see what they have to say about the task when they assigned it for a particular test. When was this? 2010, okay? So this question examines students' ability to engage in close reading and rhetorical analysis of a piece of nonfiction prose. That is, their ability to explain the meaning, purpose, and effect of a passage and the rhetorical strategies the author employed to convey meaning, achieve purpose, and create an effect. And that's basically what we do for any rhetorical analysis essay, something along those lines. In particular, students were asked to read and analyze an excerpt of a letter of Thomas Jefferson in 1791, Benjamin Banneker, all right, wait, fine. Okay, so the essay that we just read received a score of an 8 out of 9 points. That's awesome, right? And I would agree with that. I believe that this essay deserves a score of an 8. What could it have done to be a 9? It could have been more in depth. It could have provided more evidence. It could have been a little bit more sophisticated in its language use. It might have had, wouldn't have as many errors, right? And I know for a fact that some of you can produce essays that would get a 9, or with the new scoring method, as I understand it, a 6, right? So, just keep the things that I just said in mind. And maybe even jot them down, right? Because those are the ways that the essay could be even better, right? A little bit more in depth, a little bit more sophisticated in its language use, a little bit more evidence, right? And maybe in the form of quotes, okay? And also, reducing some of those errors if possible. All right, so this says, this response effectively analyzes, right? So effectively analyzes how Banneker uses rhetorical strategies to argue against slavery. It prevents a specific introduction. They like that, right? We know where it's going. We know where the essay is going. It's got a specific introduction and, right, with clear intent. And I would say that intent is also articulated in the thesis statement, that last sentence of the intro. During the struggle, right, here's a quote from the essay. During the struggle, Benjamin Banneker took a huge step and wrote Thomas Jefferson about his negative feelings on the issue of slavery, in which he implemented several religious appeals, repetition, and an array of emotional diction. They like that, right? We don't want to have your reader finish your introduction and be wondering, okay, wait, where is this essay going exactly? We don't want that, all right? This is not a suspense novel that you're writing. This is not a guessing game. Let's kind of give our readers a heads up. Hey, this is where I'm going. I've thought about it. I've planned it out, and let's get into it. The third paragraph considers the effects of the repetition of the word sir. Yes, it does. The fourth paragraph discusses the effects of Banneker's, quote, emotional diction. The analysis, here's what they have to say about all of this. The analysis is developed with evidence and explanations that are appropriate and convincing, and the student refers explicitly to the passage throughout the essay. Yes, the response effectively concludes, Banneker vividly depicts what Jefferson's actions are doing in real life to real life people, which is intended to instill, there's an error, some much needed guilt, as well as calling for radical and instrumental change. Although the response contains minor mechanical flaws, okay, so errors, it is nevertheless a controlled and perceptive analysis of Banneker's rhetorical strategies. That is an important thing to keep in mind. Just because it has a few mistakes doesn't mean that it's not controlled or perceptive, right? It's still, they're going to give you some leeway. Oh, nevertheless. Okay, so that's the College Board's response to this essay. So for the most part, that's my lesson for today, right? I just wanted to read that essay with you, kind of think out loud with you, right? I wanted to share my thoughts about what that student produced, and I did that so that you could think about your own writing, not just the writing that you did for this essay, but writing that you're going to be producing for upcoming essays. Yes, there will be upcoming essays. Some of those upcoming essays might be done in a synchronous learning session where we're all meeting together through Google Meet, and I say, okay, click this link, it'll bring you to the prompt, you got 40 minutes, go, right? And then by the time those 40 minutes are up, I need to see that my Google Classroom is full of submissions from those students who were present at that session. That, I think, is going to be one of the ways that we're going to prepare for the exam. I think that will work. I really do think it'll work, all right? So that was that essay. Now, as far as the other ones, I'm not going to go through those. You saw them, you thought about them. I hope it's clear to you. I'm sure it's clear to you why the other essay, the one that follows it, is not as good, and why that last essay is not really good. Little success. Okay, what did the last one get? A 2. It got little success. Okay, so, I have to sneeze. Excuse me. So what's the assignment that I'm giving you for today? Is there one? Well, for the most part, the lesson was kind of an assignment. Did you watch the video? Did you take notes on it? That's what I'm requiring for you to do for today. And I think that what I'm going to have you do as far as work to submit for this assignment / lesson is what I hinted at, right? Send me a picture of your notes. We watched this video. You heard me talk about what was good. You heard me talk about ways that the essay could be improved. And you should have been taking notes on that, right? Again, while thinking about your own writing. If you heard me get excited about something, right, you should have jotted that down. So, please, let's say by Wednesday, okay? I'm going to be posting this today, Monday, March 30th, 2020. And please, by Wednesday, show me that you have submitted just a picture of your notes. And how much? Like, how many pages worth of notes should you have? I would say 5, maybe 6 pages worth. No, just a page, right? And there doesn't have to be any specific order to it. It could be all fragmented in a mess. You might want to divide it in half, your sheet in half, right? What's good, what's not good, or you might want to have things that I need. I like this one, where a little area where you say things that I want to keep in mind for myself, all right? And as I walk you through that essay, you can be taking notes on that. All right? So I think that's pretty much it for today. There will be more, okay? Please, I think almost all of you have either submitted work or contacted me, but I have a few stragglers. There are some of you who I haven't heard from yet. It's just a few of you. So you need to at least contact me so that I know what's going on, right? So I know where you are in this whole process thing. The more contact that we have with each other, the better, right? So I know what to expect. There might be one more thing. So what else? Well, as this video comes to a close, basically I just want to say that I hope that you're doing well. I hope that your family is doing well. And can't stress enough that I miss seeing you. I miss going to school. I miss being in school. I miss interacting with you. All right. Now, as far as my office hours go, please keep in mind that they are going to resume on Thursday. They won't take place tomorrow. But again, if you need to contact me, please feel free. I will be around. I'm not going anywhere. She and I, we share a similar life now. We experience the outdoors through glass. What are you going to do about that, huh? What are you going to do? I know. We'll make the best of it, right? Okay? So everybody, please take care. Hope you watched hope you watched this whole video. Hope you watched my other videos, and I hope that you're not finding them too torturous or anything like that. You want to fight? You want to fight? You want to fight? She wants to fight. Say bye, Cassie.